Welcome to the video. In editing I've noticed that I've overlooked a couple of things, so I thought I'd preface the lengthy build with this. There's Maiden flight footage on board and from the ground at the end of the video, probably the last 10 minutes or so. It is quite a lengthy video documenting in detail the build of this. However, it flew superb. The Maiden footage is a true Maiden. The first launch went straight up. It's very fast, even on 3S with a 50-45 bullnose. Very happy with it. Even the conditions were unconducive of such a nice flight. However, it bodes very well for going to FPV. Did a red stripe design on one side with the winglet with the same striping, and on the underside is a vertical striping in a different colour for easy identification. Taped up the panels underneath of the channels for the wiring and so forth, and I thought I'd give the underside of the ailerons a bit of love. But all in all, very happy with it. Never done a scheme like this on a plane before, and it truly helped out a lot. Didn't lose orientation at all. However, it did get stuffed into the tree of doom. However, there wasn't even a scratch on it. So with that, I'll lead on to the build video that I've got editing already. Well, there will be a second video to follow in the very near future that will show the FPV setup and the free sky stuff, moving out to a wing and whatnot. Probably clip these off now that I've got it all trimmed in or set up to a reasonable level. Moving on. Welcome back, YouTube. Excuse my mise en place. I'll get to that in a minute. S800 Shadow Wing. Been procrastinating about this for months, so I'm finally going to get around to it while we've still got a bit of a season. I got the kit version, run of the mill. It's just the wing itself, some mounting hardware and so forth. What I plan to run in it, just quickly, I plan to have a FPV craft. On my channel there's a little WL Toys fixed wing FPV. That's pretty much the only FPV fixed wing I've done. Obviously I fly a lot of racing quads and freestyle and stuff. So, got a Eagle. Runcam Eagle. Obviously, being into quads, I have plenty of these 2205 red bottoms kicking about, so one of those is going to go on it. 30 amp BL Heli S. I do have big red bricks with built-in becks and so forth, but this has quite a small ESC base, so I thought I'd do something like this and go for a 3 amp beck for the time being with a lost model alarm on it as well. Seems appropriate. Cheapy Tower Pro Metal Gear servos, 2 of. Just to get it up in the air, I'm just going to run it on a FSI a 6B. I do have Tyrannus, obviously. I would eventually like to stick a X8R or something in it, for not extreme range, but just more than this is happily capable of, just for reliability's sake. But just to get it up in the air, I'm just going to build it out as a normal non-FPV wing. Shove a Xiaomi Yi in it, obviously because of the weight and so forth. I don't think there's much else other than a immersion RC video transmitter. So with that, let's get into the box. Itching to do this. 2205 or 2204 motor, 2300 kV, 30 ampere AC, 9 gram servos, a 5 or 6 inch propeller. Obviously I've got a slew of props, 5 and 6 inch, tri-blade, quad blade, ball nose. I'll probably just stick 50-45 ball nose on here for the start. Anyway, let's get into it. It suffered some damage, or water damage or something in transit. Hey. Yeah, it did suffer some water damage, didn't it? There's the stickers. I'll probably go on. Wiring diagram. Obviously I got the one with just the power distribution board without the 3-axis stabilisation. If I really wanted to, I could probably wire a flight controller up with any firmware on it, maybe iNav, or I think even base flight, clean flight, or so forth, do fixed wing if I remember right. Centre of gravity just beyond the fins on the bottom, where you would probably touch down on. Your elevators should be just deflected up about the amount the thickness of the elevator is by the looks of it. So measure the elevator and just put it up that amount. Need 70 grams nose weight in it if you don't install a GoPro, but obviously the Xiaomi Yi is a good substitute. Apparently you can have this as a detachable wing or not. I don't know what I'm going to choose to do. Obviously on this side for the flying wing it shows where you put the spar blanks in and the motor mount. Green on here is symbolising applying glue, and on I think this is page 1 actually. Obviously your wing fences and the wing would glue. Yeah, I think it was Matt Ogborn did it with a removable wing. I'm not sure he glued it on or not. I think it's small enough that you could glue it and be quite happy. I would like to have it detachable for, you know, chuck in a backpack and cycle off somewhere, but we'll get to it eventually. But it's all straightforward. Main body. This is the small compartment for the ESC, obviously. Yeah, that'll fit in there nicely. Obviously the red brick that I've got is 1 inch wide and 2 inches long, so that would take a lot of hogging out of the material. That's quite nice. Got some quite nice strong magnets in here by the looks of it. On the schematic it shows this has vents in it, so obviously I'm going to put a tape tab in there, flight test style. But that's quite a large bay. That's going to take a 2200 I think. That's what I envisage putting in it. I don't have 1800s anyway, so it's going to take a 2200 if it likes it or not, isn't it? Got channels here, here, here for wiring. I believe you put a wooden plate down for the battery, Velcro strap through there. Here's where your servo wiring is going to be routed. So I like that. I don't know if it's got any mould release on it. It feels a bit talky, but that might just be it's very dense and well formed EPP. It's going to need all the mould lines cleaning up and all these tabs taken off. The ends of the wings. Okay, in the box we put the extended motor mount. I think this is about 10mm pillars to mount the motor on. I do have a bit of a way I'm going to go about that, which might deviate from the normal. So let's get those out of the way. Oh, that's the... If you're not putting a Xiaomi or a FPV camera in, obviously you can blank that on. I don't want to push that in yet because, well, I don't want to push it in full stop because I know I'm not going to be able to get it out if I do. These are the wing spar covers. The wing spars themselves. One large one for the rear of the wings, one smaller, larger diameter for the front. Then we've got 4 thin or smaller diameter carbon rods. Maybe 2 of them are for the elevons, are they? I'm not sure where the other 2 go. Oh, yeah. Okay, you have the longer one in the front of the wing and then the shorter one in the elevon itself. Oh, well, these are quite nice, aren't they? They're very rigid, so these are going to need extreme exercising. I may just run some Blender down the back of them. All in all, this looks really, really tidy. Got some pre-installed inserts. This is where your FPV gear goes, I believe. Yeah, stick a clover up out here. I don't think it will take a full-size immersion RC VTX as it is, but I might be able to cut a channel in there for it, or put something like a TS5840 in or something with a right angle SMA. Well, that's one wing. Let's have a look at the other. Much of the same. Let's make some space. Absolutely rigid out of the factory. So. Oh yeah, I just suffered a little bit of damage on the end of the elevon that side in transit. It shouldn't be too much. Maybe a little bit of boiling hot water on the end might make it reform itself. I can't see it being too much of a problem. But the reflex should be... that's a marker pen. Right, that's about 4mm, so just bring that up about that much. So from there, take that up to about there. On the servo trim, or once I've got the servos installed and the hinges, I'll just dial it in on the control rod itself. Quite nice recesses for the servos on top, so obviously they're not going to get damaged at all when you come in for a landing. Let's just mock this up quickly. Hopefully the wide angle lens of the run cam is going to be getting quite a bit of this in shot. So I think with that, I think I'm going to cut all the pieces up and just mock it up and see how it looks. Oh, there is something I'm forgetting actually, isn't there? that is this box of goodies. Ah, there we go. Two little servo extensions if you need them. They're silicone, but not very long. All good for the parts bin. Nice large Velcro strap, relatively large. I'll put a better rubberized one or a quadcopter one in, I think. Balsa, very flimsy, but it might do its job. This is for the battery compartment, so that will get laid down in there with a bit of hot glue or some UV bore, and then the battery strap will retain. Well, that's cool. Right, this is the power distribution board with an XT60. Right, okay, so you've got let's open it up and have a look. Okay, an XT60 right angle header pins, reptiletech.com. So you'll have a little 5-volt regulator or pololu, V-in on that side, so that will sit on like that. Let's open it up. I don't really want to use this. I'll probably be better off using the Beck and powering the servos through the receiver and so forth. However, this... no, I don't think I'll use this. V out is on that side, V out plus, V out minus. So you would just, I would probably tin up all 8 of these pads and then so forth, just wet it all together. So it looks like this is your positive pad, your negative pad, and it looks like you can take VCC out from there, and this will process 5 volts back to here's a 5-volt header. You would put A and B servo into here, and then it will route it out to here, providing power or routing it all through. Obviously you could maybe screw this down to somewhere with a couple of servo screws, or maybe mount a piece of balsa in here somewhere, but it's a lovely big cavity. You know, you could store a GoPro in there as well as your electronics if you were shrewd about it. But anyway, let's put all that back in there for now. Okay, this I believe is the first piece to the motor mounting unit. It is balsa, laser cut obviously, so that will just key into there, and obviously that sits in here somewhere. I have watched Andrew Newton's video along with everyone else's, and he made himself a custom setup on this. However, I think I'm going to use this. I'll hot glue that in. Obviously denatured alcohol will make it drop off if required, or blast it with Freon or something. That's the hinges, the control surface horns, the snaps to go on the back, and these are for mounting onto the servo arms or horns, and the control rods themselves are quite nice and rigid. Some 3M rubbish. Here's all the carbon plates. These are the ones for the top hatch. Obviously these are sit just in here with a bit of glue. Well, they make it look nice, wouldn't they? Starts to look like something out of a sci-fi movie. Hopefully you'll pick them up. Okay, these two are for, I believe, one goes in up here somewhere for the camera mount system. I'm not exactly sure where they go, but let's have a look at the instruction manual quick. It doesn't show the right one. Well, yeah. So apparently this larger one goes in the back, like so, and then the smaller one would go in the front. It feels a little bit sharp, however, depending how the Xiaomi Yi fits in. Let's have a look. It might be better just making a custom mount for that, because it doesn't look like there's much in the way of space in there for this. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to that as well. This piece is for the underside of the ESC tray. Quite nice and tidy, well protected. These ones are for the bays underneath for your VTX. And maybe your receiver. If you were planning on doing long range FPV, you would have your receiver, your 433 meg or whatever it is you use, out on the wing away from your FPV gear. The other piece here is this. So I believe what you do, kit is now non-standard. But you screw this into here, and then this gets glued on here. However, I think what I'm going to do is mount this on here so I can put the motor on and remove it. But I may drill 4 holes in here, so I can just screw this onto this semi-permanent affixed piece of wood. Use this as a bit of a fixing bulkhead, and use this as a retention plate with the rest of it on. I don't know how well it'll work, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Not much else in the pack. Looks like some small M3 bolts of some sort. No doubt they will be for like the motor mounting system. These look like M2, which would be for the plates. Looks to be for a 12 plus in there, so 4 on each arm, 3 for there, and maybe a spare or 2. It's a very thin gauge silicone wire. It's 18 AWG. Obviously I'm going to need something a little bit thicker than that on there for the current I'm going to put through. Probably even harvest it off there or dip into my stash. With that, I think I'm going to leave the video here and get on trimming it down and maybe putting some stuff together. Post gluing, I've removed all the moulding tabs and separated all the parts. These aren't sat right, they are in the right place, but they're set a little bit proud, so I'll probably just sand this back a little bit so they sit completely flush when I get to gluing that in. I've kept all the other little bits just in case, you know, you break something, you've got some spares to put back in there or do some fixes with. For the most part I use one of these to just get in and slice nice and easy. But where the moulds come together, and this is sort of an injected mould by the looks of it, little scalpel was handy to just remove this, so I'm going to get a nice bond when I put the wings together. There was some also around up on the leading edge here, and especially these two parts here. There's still a little bit here on the front, but it was sort of interfering a little bit on the where the glue joint is going to be. And sod's law, didn't have the I had the blades, didn't have the scalpel, but that's why 3D printer's handy. I just printed up the handle. So testing ABS as well, so both worked out well. There's a little bit more clean up, but I'm going to get these spars glued in now. This spar, probably the end vents for a wing. Maybe these vents while I'm at it. I'm not going to do too much at the moment, I don't think. Just do the little bits and bobs. Otherwise I'll end up gluing myself to my desk or something stupid. Come on. Wings are complete, put the end fences on. Carbon fibre spars are in the elevons and the leading edge. Cut all the blanks for the spars and position right. Vents in the top hatch, put a little tab on so it's easy to pop that up. Carbon fibre spars are placed and they're roughed up and keyed in, ready for gluing if I so wish. All the surfaces, like this motor plate here, are all roughed in, as are all the joints. I've mocked this up, put the key in, and I've structurally reinforced it somewhat with CA around the parts that I think could do with it. This is half put together, that's going to mount on here, and the screws on the back of these pillars are Loctited already. Got some spare servo screws, so what I'm going to do is glue this to the EPP. Probably put a bit of hot glue on between these plates, or mount it and hot glue it. Then I'm going to use 4 of these little servo screws to secure it as well. Obviously it's going to be a pusher, so it's not going to have a lot of weight hanging off of it other than the motor itself and other forces. CA reinforced the Velcro strap location and a little bit around the edge. I've also keyed it up every 45 degrees for that to sit in. As with the fuselage compartment, battery bay, roughed all that up so all the glue's going to stick there. Got my servo horns ready, got my servos ready. The only other thing that is deviated is the BEC. For the time being, I'm going to use what was supplied just to give it a shot. I would like to use the other, but it's just a LVC BEC, a 3 amp. Apparently this will do 3 amp anyway, according to the spec sheet. Where is it? Here you go, look. A 5 volt 3 amp out BEC, and it's got V out or 5 volt out if I so need it. So with that, the next course of action is, for now, I'm going to hot glue in these spar retention blanks and see how sturdy they feel, and I may use this as a non-secured wing for the time being, just to see how well it travels and how well these supports last. They feel like they're going to be really tight and push fit, and if they are structurally sound, I can always cut a slot in here or print up something, or put some neodymium magnets in to just keep them from coming apart. I would like to keep it transportable. I think earlier on in the video, I think it was Matt Ogborn did one without gluing it. Upon thinking back, I think it was Chris iForce 2D who did it, or was contemplating it. So that's what I plan to do, so I can travel with it. Nothing really to lose other than a little bit of a giggle with a crash, and then around the gluing. I'm going to be running it with a 2200 3S to begin with, so obviously the tail weight with the extra 10mm out the back isn't going to be a problem. I don't know about putting the Velcro strap carbon pieces in. I think I'm going to use the Enken H9 because it's a bit thicker than the Xiaomi Yi, but the fit is absolutely perfect. It's hard to get out, just friction fit. So for the time being, it's just going to be a normal wing, line of sight with a high def camera in the front for balance, and give this included 5V back and so forth a shot. Get on with gluing and drop an update in a bit. Another day spent on it, but progress has been made. That is not glued together. That is just friction fit with the spars in behind the blanks. They were hot glued quite heavy-handedly. However, seems alright. I'm sure I could get them apart if I need to. All I've done is put the plates on underneath, just blanked. But the thing to note is the motor mount. That worked out really well. Just a couple of servo screws, top and bottom, retaining it with a little bit of hot glue as well. But there's no way that's coming off. 2205 or RS 2205 VMAX should work brilliant. The centre of gravity is perfect with a 2200 up front, which is in there. Set the slight up reflex at the neutral servo position. They're all glued in. I haven't routed the wire just yet, but what I'm going to do is put some red wing tape over this, obviously red on black. I'll do a design on one side so I know which is which. U-hook board spars in, winglets or fences on, whatever you want to call them. Speed controllers in, all soldered up. Pushers right orientation to do the nut up when it spins up. It's going to take a 50-45 ball nose. Got a camera in the front of my Enken H9. That's not coming out. That's friction fit as well. It's quite fit compared to a Xiaomi Yi and a GoPro, which is good. But I might put a little Velcro strap in, or just some tape over. That's not coming out, no way. But this is just an interim between building and going FPV with it. As you see, there's no receiver in it and no video transmitter or an FPV camera, although it is here ready to go in. Eagle. Obviously that'll just sit in like so. Eventually. I've got everything to do, but I think I'm going to just build up to FPV in it. Make sure this flies first. I'm going to print up some vortex generators for the leading edge. I'll print up the non-permanent ones and just sticky tape them on, double-sided sticky tape, to make sure they work. I prefer a slower wing rather than a faster one. However, we'll see how it goes. The leading edge on here is a little bit out of alignment with the blunt nose part of the fuselage. However, the incidence looks exactly the same, so that should be fine. Reinforced tape on the hatch. Got my 2200 just sat in there for mocking it up. It fits nice. Obviously I used the inbuilt circuit board just to provide 5 volts. I'm not routing the servos through it or anything, however I am routing the ESC power through it in the short term. It does seem like a very big 5 volt back, but it is what it is. It was better than the other one anyway, so in the short term. However, one thing, the pin pitch on these two, like 1.5 mil rather than 1.25 mil, I think. So a little bit awkward to get soldered in there. However, you know, you can bend them to fit right, can't you? ESC wire, the elevons. Going to be putting this in just in the short term, and it's already set up with elevon mixing. Channel 1 is my left one, channel 2 is my right one. I think channel 1 had to be reversed for it to work in the right orientation. Obviously left aileron, you want this one to come up, the servo forward, and this one back, and that's working right at 50%. Seems like plenty of throws on it, but can change that. Fail safe on the motor specifically set. Balsa woods in there. I've got a Velcro strap. Eventually, when I get round to post Maiden, I will have all the wiring run out to the wing for a free sky radio, and the VTX on the other side. It might get a little bit cramped in here for a line of sight Maiden, but it is what it is. So with that, just got to wing tape up the servo leads on the bottom. I'll probably put the stickers on just for vanity's sake. So the next time I'll be on video with this will probably be the Maiden, or maybe a quick shot showing it and it's ready to go for the guys before it gets thrown into the ground. So, built, ready for Maiden, dodgy stripes on, just for identification. I never ever pick the best day for a Maiden, but got dual rates on, just in case it gets a bit funny and a bit of expo. And a 50-45 bull nose, it's savage. Needs a little bit more work inside and whatnot, but well, let's give it a shot, eh?